We're going to talk about, I would assume that you have all seen Abby Johnson Unplanned. Now that's a beautiful movie. It exposes the abortion industry. But I want to take you back 11 decades. I want to go back to 1940, actually 1910, okay? In the old Jim Crow law in Mississippi, the Dixiecrats, who broke away from the Democratic Party in 1948, they were the landowners, the rulers, they were the law enforcement, they were everything, okay? And when they told you to do something, you did it, or you stopped breathing. During this period of history, 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 98% of black women have been raped by the Klan. If I had $1 for every pretty black girl I've gone and got for a Klan member, I could buy myself a Lincoln Continental today. And I was too young to even understand what was going on. But it was a situation that you did what you were told to do, or you stopped breathing. Now that was rough for black people, but let me tell you something. White women, beautiful white women, were the property of the family. She was beholden to uncles, aunts, cousins, anybody that wanted her could have her. Okay, this situation produced a lot of women, and that you've heard the old saying, maybe keep it in the family. Have you heard that? That's a Southern phrase. That means for white women, if they were pretty, that she was not to be touched by another man outside of the family line. Okay? There's some ugly truths out there, but we have to accept those to understand what's going on today. Now, this situation created a situation of multiple births. There were rapes, and there was a lot of these women did not want to have a baby implanted by a rapist. So that became a rich ground for Margaret Sanger to work in. Now let's talk about Margaret Sanger for a minute. Margaret Sanger was born about 1887, and she was a woman that had a troubled life. She had a troubled pregnancy. She had a hard time having kids. She had 3 kids, and she had multiple miscarriages. And she felt that a woman should have the right to control her body. Whether or not she wanted to get pregnant or not, she had the right to control her body. Now, Margaret Sanger was a member of the eugenics group, and she was a member of, she was also one of those people that believed in evolution. Now, eugenics, if you go and look, there was about 18 or 20 prominent families. Kennedys and the Rothschilds was involved. This is during the 1880s. They decided that if they could put enough drugs and guns in the hands of the poorest people in the city, they would kill themselves off and they would not become a liability for them to have to take care of. Margaret Sanger enters the picture, and of course Margaret Sanger was believed in evolution. For those people that believe in evolution, they don't believe in creation. Pardon me. They believe that the black man evolved from an ape. And since we came from an ape, we were not fully human. So it was okay for them to get rid of us at will. Okay? She went down south, and she started, her and her sister started organizations in the South to eliminate the black race. Her first organization that she created was called the Negro Project. The Negro Project sterilized black men without their knowledge. And when it was found out, she went to jail for that, okay? She got out of jail and came back. She joined up with her sister and they started an organization called the Mississippi Appendectomy. You can check that. That's on your cell phone. It's out there. The information's out there if you know what you're looking for. The Mississippi Appendectomy tied the tubes of black women they thought was not pretty enough to have a baby. Okay? She was an evil, evil woman. Okay? That was the start when she moved into this situation, this mecca of people having abortions. This was her ideal way to get rid of the black race. Following the paper in just a moment. Oh, she was very, very effective with black ministers in the South, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama. She went around and she convinced preachers to convince pregnant black women that it was a greater act of love to kill their babies out of love than to bring them into a world of poverty. Okay? So many of the black ministers in the South were doing her work for her. Thank God my mother was a Christian and believed in the sanctity of life. At the age of 68, I discovered my mother had been raped by the Klan every first Friday for the first 13 years of my life. Okay? Margaret Singer needed some help though. It was going slow for her, it was going bad for her. She was having a lot of time, and the government really had their fingers on her, watching to make sure that she was doing the right things. Now, we get up to 1963, we have the court case Roe v. Wade. Donna McGarvey was a liberated white feminist out of Chicago. She was an atheist. She was a very, very good attorney. Thurgood Marshall got appointed to the Supreme Court by the Republican Party. There was something in Vietnam that President Johnson wanted to do, and Congress would not allow him to do it. And the Republican minority came to him and said, look, give us our first black Supreme Court justice, and we will let you do what you want to do in Vietnam. That is the way Thurgood Marshall got into the Supreme Court. And if you read the story of his life, it's kind of interesting. His mother taught him civil disobedience. They grew up in Baltimore, and about 1910, 1920, they started putting up light poles on street corners. And his mother, when she saw this happening, she went out there and confronted the electricians, and she said, hey, what are you doing? No, you're not putting it on my property. She took her rocking chair and sat on the street corner for 4 days, and finally the city said, the heck with this woman, we'll go somewhere else. So that's where he got his start in civil disobedience. Now, about the time that Thurgood Marshall became the Supreme Court Justice, in '63 was when the sit-in started in Washington, D.C. They were locking up black students because they tried to sit in white restaurants. Thurgood Marshall formed a team of 5 attorneys. Johnny McCarvey was one of those attorneys. And they would go and post bail for the students to get them out of jail, okay? And one Friday night, it was storming. They could not work the streets. So the question was asked, what law out there do we need to consider that's not being challenged? Nobody could come up with an answer. The next morning they said, well, you know, if a woman wanted to have a baby, wanted to get rid of her baby, there's no law to protect her. So Donna McGarvey agreed to be Jane Doe, okay? So they created this case called Roe v. Wade. Donna McGarvey was Roe in Roe v. Wade. Okay? Thurgood took this court case. Now, let me stop a minute. If you understand our government, who makes laws in this country? The legislature, right? What is the job of the Supreme Court? To interpret the law. Thurgood Marshall argued and won Roe v. Wade based on the idea that the woman had been brutally raped, became pregnant, and did not want to keep her child. It became law. As soon as it became law, it was open up to all women, whether raped or not. Okay, that's the way Roe v. Wade came. Roe v. Wade was a big lie. And this is something that they're looking at now. As a matter of fact, even Mrs. Ginsburg had said it was not right. It's not a real law because it's based on a lie. There was no rape in Roe v. Wade. Okay? Let me get my thoughts together. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
When Roe v. Wade got passed, Gloria Steinem came onto the scene. Now, everybody here knows Gloria Steinem, right?
Oh, yeah.
An activist, a feminist. She is the founder of Ms. Magazine, and she was the president of the National Organization of Women. She told women, look, you don't need a man, you don't need babies, and you don't need a family. Go to school, get your degree, and be independent. Now, women listen to her all over this country. You women of the 60s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Women threw their bras away, they was having sex with anybody they wanted to. They get pregnant, they just go take the pill and get rid of it. Go to abortion clinic and get rid of it. Now, about 1965, 66, FDA approved the birth control pill based on all the work that Margaret Sanger had been doing. She got started back in the 20s. It took them a long, long time to actually approve the birth control pill. And when the birth control pill was approved, it was approved for married women only, and the husband had to sign for his wife to get the birth control pill. That's kind of the story of the birth control pill, where it came from, okay? Now, Gloria Steinem, they don't tell you what happened after telling women for 25 years, you don't need a man. Guess what she did when she was 65 years old? She ran off to Africa and married an Englishman. Okay? Okay? She ran off and got married. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about this time in history, because there was a lot of abortions going on, a lot of abortions. Everybody got this idea, a woman's right. Now, Gloria Steinem is responsible for a woman's reproductive rights. You go to the dictionary, you will not find reproductive rights in the dictionary. Now, reproductive is a positive, uplifting word, not negative. Reproductive, the way it's interpreted by her, is the right to kill your baby. Okay? Unfortunately, women all over the world listen to Margaret Sanger. 3 years ago, we did That Man Is You. Now, St. Louis de Montfort is running the course right now. In the 8th chapter, it talked about the disappearing West. When God created woman, he intended for each female to have 2 live births. Now, we know that every woman can't have, they don't have, every woman can't have children. But as long as there are an average of 2, that is considered a replacement rate. And that meant as you, they looked at Europe, all of Europe right now, Germany, France, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, Spain, Italy, Russia, they're at 0.5. At 0.5, those races will disappear in about 35 years because they are not replacing themselves. The United States is running right now at 1.2 replacement rate. And at 1.2, we will last about 42 years. Now, the census figures reported that the period of 1963 to 2012, there were 60 million abortions in America. Now, these are American abortions, not worldwide. 51 million, or 85% of those abortions were black. Now, I was pretty good in math in high school, and I knew how to figure, if you get 3 numbers, if you get 3 facts, you can find the 4th fact. And if it took 63 years to destroy 85% of the black population, how long would it take to destroy the remaining 15%? 8.5 years, if abortion keeps at the rate it's going. But guess what? The world is browning. Everybody's talking about, oh, the world is browning, you know. The reason it's browning is that Mexicans do not take birth control pills. Mexicans are having an average of 6 births per woman. Muslims can have 4 wives, and they are having 8 children per fertile woman. So guess what the world's going to look like about 20 years from now? It's going to be Mexicans and Muslims. Not because of immigration problems or anything else except the abortion pill. Because our abortion pill, and I'm going to say this, it may sound cruel, but I'm going to say it, white women have stopped having babies. They go to college, they get beautiful degrees, and they run companies, and they will date you, and they will cook you a beautiful microwavable meal, but they do not want to get married and have kids, okay? So the white race is disappearing because of the abortion pill, okay? So we're in for a new day. If it doesn't turn around, it's in for a new day. Now, being a business manager, I was interested because they got into the practice of selling baby parts. I don't know when it started, but the lady down in Texas was bragging about buying a Lamborghini with the money that she got from selling baby parts. And I had a flyer to give out. Now this is hard to look at. Okay? But let me do a little bit of explaining here. On the very first page, you see is the census figures from American abortions from 1963 to 2012, the 60 million babies. Look at the income that they produced. I can't even say it. That's 77 trillion. Why are we paying taxpayer money to support them when they are making that kind of money? Okay? Now, the fallacy with that picture is that we don't know, or it doesn't take into consideration when baby parts start to be sold. So it's not, the 77 trillion is not really a true figure because of the fact that we don't know when they started. Now, if you flip over to the next page, the email I got from Vicki showed us that there was a total of 42 million abortions in the year of 2019. Now that 42 billion abortions, if they were sold at the price of $12.95, produced $54,390,000,000. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. We get numbers that big, I'm not used to it.
It's to the ninth power.
Okay. But this industry needs to be disembarked. Now, Trump is the only president in the history of America that has supported pro-life. Okay? He went to our pro-life meeting. He's met with pro-life speakers in Washington, D.C. He is pro-life. Now, everybody's trying to say the man is prejudiced, that he's racist. Okay? Believe what you want to believe, but you have to look at facts. What is he doing? Does what he does support the facts that he's racist? No, it does not. It does not. Okay? So we need to pray for him. We need to pray for another Supreme Court justice to replace Ginsburg. Okay? And hopefully, at some point in line, they're going to have to realize that Roe v. Wade is a lie. There was no rape in Roe v. Wade. Okay? That will end my little spill that I had, and I would like to end this with a prayer. I would like to end my talk, and then I'll let you ask questions.